DJ Ash Noble, whatever you want to call me these days. I know I go with so many different names, it's unbelievable. So I do apologise. I do have a tiny, tad little bit of a cold. I think I'm sort of through the worst of it. It's not COVID, by the way. I think it was just a rundown thing um, from what told you about in the last stream about what happened at the weekend. So I'm kind of like through the worst of it. I think I'm sort of at a bad point of the cold, but I think it's kind of sort of edging towards that getting better. Monday I felt quite shocking. Yesterday I didn't feel too bad. I felt a little bit better. Today I don't possibly maybe feel as good, but I still feel better than I did on Monday. I would say the most annoying thing about my cold is blowing my nose. It's like I'm blowing my nose, and like within a matter of maybe 5 minutes, I need to blow my nose again. So I'm going through toilet roll like it's going out of fashion, and I'm getting quite warm as well. Like I find it quite hot, so like a little bit of a temperature. But it is like really warm in our house with the heating on, so that could also be why. Um, but anyway, I've just been live on Facebook. I was doing a little few breakfast tunes. Couple of songs come into my head that I hadn't heard for a while, and I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna download them and I'm gonna do like a little bit of a breakfast sort of, just spin a few sort of classic funky house tunes for breakfast. Well, that didn't go to plan as Facebook and the Facebook police and the copyright laws, they decided that that wasn't going to happen, Noble. So they actually took the video down in the end. But we had a little bit of a good run. We got a few funky house tunes and then it wasn't too bad. But anyway, the sort of idea behind this stream is I wanted to come live and I wanted to sort of talk a little bit about my life on the dole. And I know it seems a little bit of a weird one, but quite a while back I got into an argument with somebody on Instagram over myself being on the dole, and I got called a few. I got called a few names, and I got into a little bit of a debate with him. And the argument started because it was a Monday, and I went live at dinner time on Instagram, and because I went live on Instagram at dinner time and I wasn't at work, I got like the absolute piss taken out of me by this guy. Now this guy doesn't know me. For all this guy could have known, I could have been on a day off. Do you know what I mean? But no, I am actually on the dole. But I wanted to sort of do a stream and sort of talk a little bit about life on the dole, because being on the dole is not the best lifestyle, trust me. But it can also have its good points as well. And this is why I wanted to kind of openly talk about it. Now, I just want to state, before we do go any further with the stream, that I'm not a dole dosser, and I am trying to get back into work. I don't sort of want to be like this. I don't aim to be like this. And I'm actually, I've got an appointment this afternoon. Actually, I go to a group once a week, and it's like to help you get back into work, and for people that like have learning disabilities like I do. You know, I struggle at reading and writing. Which is why sometimes even when I stream, you'll see like sometimes the spelling errors in the title. I am suspected to have autism, but I've not been like fully diagnosed with it yet. So I'm trying like to my hardest to like to get back into work, and I'm going to all these groups that the job centre are recommending. But I wanted to talk about life for me on the dole and stuff like that, because it's had its bad points, it's had its good points. So first of all, I just also want to state that I've done quite a few different jobs over the years. Now, it first started for me when I started. I did a trial shift in like a pet shop. This was going back quite a while. And there was like a job application. It was for like like a village sort of pet country store. So it wasn't, it was quite big, so you could get like sort of like really big sort of like kilo bags of dog biscuits, and you'd get like loads of other stuff as well, like dog beds and loads of different stuff for cats, stuff for rabbits, stuff for birds. It was a bit of everything. Probably a little bit bigger to what you would get in, say, like a pet shop inside of a town where you'd go and pick up like a new hamster. There was no like animals for sale. It was all like, for like farming and like agricultural sort of shop. So I think if I remember right, there was an advert in the newspaper, and I applied, and I thought that this will be good. At the time, I think I was possibly still maybe going to college, so it was just one of them sort of like, it was like a weekend thing at the time, so it was just, it was going to give me a little bit of cash in the pocket. So I believe I did a couple of days at the shop, and then I never heard anything back. And the guy actually tried to rip me off with wages as well, which we ended up having to complain to the guy. But yeah, he ripped me off with wages, and I was travelling out of town on my motorbike at the time, my NSR, and I was going sometimes in, I think it was some icy conditions when I went as well, and that I remember I turned up on time, I did everything he asked, and we seemed to get on all right. He seemed a really nice person, and then for whatever reason he just did not get back in touch, and then he just tried to rip me off with wages. And at the time, I think they had another shop in Driffield, which is where I used to live, and it was on an industrial estate, and I believe my dad's girlfriend used to get dog biscuits from there, and I'm not certain. I think she might have even stopped getting dog biscuits from there because he'd ripped me off with the wages. So after that, I joined up with an agency called Best Connection, and I worked on night shifts in a factory. Well, it was a few different factories, but there was mainly one factory where I went to the most. It was like a birdseed factory. It was night shifts, so it was from like 12. It was it was from 4 in the afternoon until about 2 the next morning. So it was, quite long hours. So it was 8 hours basically. 8 hours, was it 8? No, 10 hours. 10 hours. 10 hours. So yeah, 10 hours. And it would, it would vary. Like some days I wouldn't be in, some days I would be in. It was agency, so they called you when they needed you really, which was a little bit of an annoying thing because the one thing with work, one thing I like is to know the days I'm going in, to know the days I'm not going in. So it was getting to the point where you'd like wake up each morning, you wouldn't know if they'd ring. So like you'd be sat at home, you'd be waiting, wondering if they're gonna ring, and then like you might want to go out somewhere. So for example, like me and my nan wanted to jump on a bus and nip to Brid, get a bit of shopping, as you do. But you sort of didn't feel like doing that because you wasn't sure if he was gonna ring. So like you could get there and then my mobile would ring, or you've got to be in, and then it's a waste of the bus fare. You've got to rush back. You've got to get something to eat, get ready to go. And another sort of bad point as well was it felt like you didn't really have a life. So for example, you go in at 4 in the afternoon. You work 10 hours and then you come home, so you're quite tired from working 10 hours. And then you go to bed, and then because you're tired and you go to bed, you sleep in till maybe nearly dinner time, because you're catching up on that lost sleep. And then you get up, and then it's only like a couple of hours, and then you're getting ready to go in again. So it almost feels like you don't have a life, and you just sort of work, sleep. And then, because sometimes like you would go in every day of the week, so then you'd only get the weekend. So you get like 2 days at the weekend, which you'd be tired, so you won't really feel like doing much because you've obviously just had all this, long hours, like 10 hours every day of the week. But on the plus side, the wage balance, like, you got quite a lot of good money a week, which was, I was on some pretty decent money. Sometimes they'd ring you up and then you go to a different factory. So one time I went to a pet food factory. It was like for dog food. It was literally next to the other one I normally go to, and they literally said I was going to be doing a full 12 hours, so from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. So the clock was going to literally go around the whole, it was going to literally go around like the whole once. Do you know what I mean? So from 6 until 6 basically. So I went there, and when I arrived, there was a machine that wasn't working. It was a machine that we needed. So we was kind of just stood around waiting, and we was kind of just waiting and waiting, wondering like what was going to happen. And then a foreign guy eventually told us that we could go home because the machine just wasn't going to be fixed and be able to be fixed, and we were just more or less stood around. It was a waste of time. So I obviously got a lift and went home. But apparently the foreign guy was in the wrong for telling us to go home, and he shouldn't have told us to go home. So it caused a little bit of a upset there. But he was sort of like working there. He was like a team leader, but apparently he shouldn't have told us to go home. There was another time where I worked at a recycling place. So it was loads of like like recycled milk cartons, just sort of like what I guess what you'd put in your blue bin, and it was almost like just sorting all of that sort of stuff out. And I worked there once. It was for like it was in the daytime, and it was actually like a really good, like it was less hours, but it was like it was a better time. It was from like 8 in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon. And at the time when he rang and said I'm going to be doing this, it was kind of like really exciting. So I even said to the agency guy on the phone, I said, this is right up my street. This is better for me. I do like these hours. If you've got any more work going upon this way, can I keep it? Can I do these? Can I take these kind of shifts? Because you sort of like had like the whole evening to chill. You're not coming in and going straight to bed, so you come in and have your tea, you chill, and then you just get up and go to work. A bit like a 9 to 5 job, which is that's always suited me. And plus, you'd still get your weekends. So that was good. So he was like, yeah, I think you'll be in for most of the week. So I was like, yeah, this will be good. So I do my first day, and nothing said. So I just presume I'm in the next day. Again, it's out of town. It's probably about 3, maybe 4 miles from the town where I live. So the next morning, I get up. I'm all excited. I'm going in for another shift. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the work, and I just presume I'm in. So I drive. So my granddad gives me a lift all the way there. I go to the office where I pick up my high vis and sign in. Say I'm here on the agency, and then boom, you're not in today. We presume we was in. My granddad's already drove off. So what do? I walk all the way back into town, all the way. So literally, by the time I get back into town, it's been probably about an hour and a half, walking like the side of a main road, and then literally it starts raining as well. So I get like really, really soaking wet through, and then I get back home. I've been home like literally all of what, maybe half an hour, and I get a phone call. You're in on the night shift, and I'm thinking, I've just walked back 4 miles, and then I'm going back to the original birdseed place on a night agency. Honestly. So anyway, eventually after being on the agency, going on about a year and a half, nearly 2 years on and off, I they just literally stopped ringing. I think they just didn't need as many agency people, and I just literally got sort of like just ditched. Really, didn't ring again. Didn't want me. So it just got left. So after then, I decided that I was going to join and work for my dad and granddad's business, electric aerial fitting, and I worked with that for about 2 years. And I got to the point where I was quite enjoying myself. Let me just get a tissue. I was really enjoying it. It was I was starting to pick up things, and I was getting quite well liked customers. So literally, it was just like, it was just working out for me, and it was just doing well. And then sadly, my granddad decided to retire. I think he was at the age of 80. I think he was at that time. So he decided to retire, and it was a bit of a letdown. So me and my dad, we carried on running the business. I carried on working for him. My dad took over, and things just didn't go too well from there, and it sort of went downhill. And sadly, the business just went into the ground. And a bit later, I think it was 2018, I believe, was literally the year when the business just went to an end. I think it would be maybe around the March, April time, and we wasn't sure if the business was going to carry on, if it was going to like pick back up or was going to give it another go again. So I kind of just sat and sort of waited without a job. I was a little bit gutted, really. I didn't really have an income coming in. I was getting a lot of help and support, but in the end, it just wasn't good enough. And that's when I had to revert to signing on. So the signing on wasn't my like decision, really. It was more something I had to do, because like I had no job. I couldn't get a job, and I needed help. I needed money fast. So it just made sense for me to start signing on. So at least I was getting a little bit of dole money, which was, just to tie me over and just to help me. And since being on the dole, I've done many different things. I've done a few jobs as well, and then gone back to the dole. I've done some work experience. I've done some courses. I've done some performances on stage through groups that have been recommended to me through the job centre. So one of the first ones was I went to a group called Find Your Voice, which they just helped you sort of build your confidence up. And we put like a play on in the Beverley Theatre. I got to perform on stage and stuff like that. And then after that, I went on to another group, which I forget what it was called, but it was at the Beverley Cricket Club. It was just basically, again, it was just about confidence and just about helping you sort of get back into work. And I saw a woman called Ellie. She was really nice, actually, and she was like really helpful, but sadly she was leaving that job and going on to another job, and the program was coming to an end. So and since then, in some sense, I've never really got as lucky with work again, and until sort of recently. She was a really good helper, and she really helped me, and we applied for jobs. I even got an interview, and I just felt like when I was working with her, things were going in the right direction. And then sadly she left, and I got moved on to a group called Stand Guide, and they were absolutely shocking. If they're still on the go, which I don't even know if they are or they aren't, I just would not, if you are on the dole, I would just not recommend going with them. Trust me, because they're absolute sack of shit, basically. So I had these, like, I guess again you call them work coaches, bit like what Ellie used to do. And I think in all the time that I was with the Stand Guide, I had probably about 10 different tutors, like 10 different work coaches. And I was forever, like, say I'd be in on a Wednesday afternoon, and then it'd get to Wednesday, and your appointment's been changed, it's been cancelled this week. And then you'd go to your appointment. This is Susie, your new work. And then you'd introduce yourself, you'd tell her a bit about yourself, and then the next week you'd be due to go in again. Your appointment would be cancelled, so you'd miss the appointment. Then you'd go in the following week, and then it'd be, hi, this is Darren, this is your new work coach. And then you'd tell them a bit about yourself, and you were going round and round in the same circle. Now, there was a woman who I did eventually get to work with, And she wasn't too bad. I forget her name. I think she was called Louise, I think. And anyway, she helped me quite a bit. I saw her for a few weeks, and I actually got an interview and I got a trial job at a tip yard site. It was the one just outside of Market Wheaton, and what a bad experience that was. Now, I mean, I like working. I'm not shy of work. I do want to work, but this work experience, whatever, it was almost like a weekend trial. It was on like an agency again. But I decided to do it, even though I wasn't keen on agencies after the last agency messing me about. So basically, to cut the story short, I go in for this weekend, and literally, my God. So there's a guy who's on. So I start Friday, I finish on Sunday. So Friday, there's this guy in with a beard. Absolutely tosspot, basically. Absolute tosspot. The guy just did not know how to sort of treat like someone coming on agency. This guy was a smoker, and he just really did not give a shit. He did not really show me around the site. He didn't really show me what to do or introduce me. He just sort of basically said, fill the skips, blah blah blah. And what really annoyed me was on the second day. Actually, I went in for the second day. It was no better. He seemed in like a really grumpy form. And towards the afternoon, the tip yard went quiet for a while, and he actually decided that he was going to take it upon himself, that he was going to go into the office, sit back in his chair, and he was going to have a sleep. And the guy just literally fell to sleep. So he left an agency guy who's only on his second day on the tip yard. So second day, who doesn't really still fully know what he's doing. You might think it's only a tip yard site, but there's still a lot of things that you've got to learn. So he decides to have a sleep, blah blah blah, and then literally he wakes up, and because the sweeping up hadn't been done, because I didn't know to do it, because he hadn't instructed me and said, look, we need to have a sweep up, blah blah blah, keep the place tidy. So I'm just sort of, tip yard's quiet. I'm just sort of waiting around. Few cars come, so obviously I just sort of look over them and make sure they're putting things in the right place, blah blah blah. And he has a go at me because the sweeping up's not being done. So that already sort of peed me off. And then literally on the Sunday, it was the other guy that comes in. So there's another guy that takes over, and it's this previous guy. He goes on to his days off, and this guy was so much better. He was nicer. He just literally, we got on a lot better. He explained to me more what to do with things. Even when I come away at the end of that day, I said, look, I've had such a better day today, that it was just an absolute, it was really good. I enjoyed actually coming and working there on the Sunday. And then the previous guy actually had the cheek to grass on me, and make up lies and say that I was struggling, I wasn't fitting the role of the job, and that he doesn't think I should come back. So that was my end with the tip yard. After then, I did work experience at Morrison's, or I think that might have been before, but that was around Christmas time. That was good. I enjoyed that. It was just like filling up shelves and stuff, and I was in there for a couple of days. I even went in on some like Saturdays and stuff, and I just did a few weeks around Christmas time. It was belting as well. It was enjoyable. You met a lot of customers. It was just a case of like really just keeping the shop area nice and tidy, and I really enjoyed it. So that was quite good. There was a possibility a job might come out of it, but sadly it didn't. And then after that, I worked on a potato farm. I did a week on a potato farm. It was like 6 in the morning until like 5 at night or something like that. It was an enjoyable job. It was quiet. What's the word? It was quite like hard work. There was a lot of like heavy lifting involved, and you had to sort of work at some like fast paced as well, which was quite sort of like hard. But I worked there for a week, and then they literally said they thought I was struggling, so they didn't advise me to go back in. Sadly, but I do struggle with a few things. So that is sort of what my life has been like on the dole. Um, but what I will say about the dole, one thing that has been good about the dole, as it has given me a lot of time to grind the music. Now, I'm not saying this as in like I want to be on the dole because I don't, but like if I hadn't have been on the dole, like I wouldn't have been as like probably like I wouldn't have got as far with my music as like I have done, because like all them times where I've maybe gone live or put something up, like if I'd have been at work I wouldn't have done that. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like being on the dole has like given me that free time to like sort of grind and work what I do. Hopefully, possibly in the long run, would love it to be a career. You know, I would love to be able to, like, I mean, I don't think I'll ever be able to earn enough to live on, but you know, all you can do is like never say never. But even if I could do it like on the sideline of something else, it would be like absolutely wicked. But being on the dole, it's given me a good time to work on things. Do you know what I mean? So like push my music like really far. And obviously now I've done like quite a lot of bookings. I've done quite a few different things. I've done some really enjoyable things, and you know, I did that pub booking the other day on Saturday. I got paid for that, and I've actually just about 99.9% confirmed another one. So basically, I've been booked for the 8th of April, and they want another birthday party. This time it's going to be a bit better because it's going to be an adult one, and it's going to be from 8 in the evening until midnight, and they want 80s, 90s, and then they want a little bit of Clubland. So already in my mind, I'm already thinking about how I would go ahead and sort of like do this sort of party. So I'd start with the 80s, so I'd do like, I don't know, maybe I'd do like a good few 80s tunes, so some well-known 80s hits. Ones I can think of off the top of my head, Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, For the First Time, Casey and Jojo, All My Life, some other 80s hits as well. There's one, oh, what is it? Is it, I don't know if it's Madonna who did it, but there is Madonna Like a Prayer, and there's another tune, and it's called This Time I Know It's For Real, so that's another good one. And then there's another one called All Out of Love, which all come from 90s classics, 80s classics, so I'd probably throw some of them in, and then we'd go into the 90s a little bit later on. You'd have your sort of like The Key, The Secret, Saturday Night, Rhythm of the Night, Rhythm as a Dancer. You'd have all them 90s classics. And then towards the end, we'd pump it up, we'd go a little bit harder, we'd go a little bit more clubby, we'd go into the clublandy stuff, you know, which would be like Entrance, Set You Free, which again, that would coincide with the 90s as well, because that was a 90s tune. Then you'd have like Ultra Beat, Pretty Green Eyes, Special D, Come With Me, Take Me to the Clouds Above. So we'd have some bangers. So I'm already thinking in my mind how the gig would work. The only thing or the only problem is I've got to confirm whether my partner in crime, the layman, is available that day, because we decided that we're going to do these pub bookings together. So literally, if he's free that day, if he's got nothing on, then literally we're gonna literally be solid, and I will literally just go back to the woman and say, "Yep, we're free that day." Blah blah blah. So we probably have to like get there for about 6:30, 7 to set up, and then obviously we'd be ready to go round 8, which would be wicked. So that'll be good. But yeah, so going back to the Dole, Like I say, being on the dole is not something that I choose to do. It's not something that I particularly want to do. But it does have its good points as well. But I don't mean that in like I'm a dole dosser kind of way. It just means that sometimes in life we can get pushed into doing sort of like what we don't want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, because people are so like, you must do this and you must do that, or because you must be working. Like, people sort of like get pushed into doing something they maybe don't want to do, and they'll do it for years, but they'll just do it because it brings the money in. Now, I'm a big believer in living the best life you can. So you're on this earth, you're going to die at some point, and live the best life while you can. And why spend years doing something that you don't enjoy, or something that you just sort of doing it just to get by, just to get through? You know, you go there and, you know, you just think, oh, only a few more hours to go. Or you can be at a job that you've sort of really worked and achieved really hard to get to, which some people do. You know, some people want to be nurses and things, and, you know, they actually work towards being a nurse, and, you know, they absolutely love a shift and they can't wait to get back into work again, and, you know, they can't wait to go back the next day and smash another day of it. Whereas some people, like I said, they look at the clock and they think, oh, it's dragging, and, you know, they wake up in the morning, oh, I really can't be bothered to go in, and I don't want to go in, and, you know, I wish I was doing something else, but I can't get out else, and it's bringing the money in, it's paying the bills. And I understand that, you know, you have to do that, you have to pay bills and shit like that. But sometimes, like, if you can just get a bit of time to work on something that you really love, you can make it a reality. Now, I don't obviously kill it DJing, you know, like, I get a good few bookings, I've done a lot of free ones to get my name out there, and I'm at the point now where I do have the authority to sort of just charge for a couple of events. I don't rip people off. I don't cost as much as, say, booking somebody like Scott Brown, because I'm not on that level. I don't claim to be on that level. I don't boast like I'm on that level. But I am at the point where I do, you know, ask just to get a little bit of money when I go to a booking. And especially if I do like a pub gig, I do charge because I'm taking my equipment and stuff. And it does help out, you know, just sometimes getting that extra little bit of just really helps out. So I just wanted to sort of come and talk a little bit about my life on the dole, and I thought it might just be quite interesting for people that have never been on the dole, or like for somebody who is on the dole to sort of openly speak out about their experience on the dole. So my experiences, it's been good, it's been annoying. The job centre, they hound you like mad. They always want you for something, or, you know, if you're not always doing something that they tell you, like, they can soon stop your money. So it is a little bit annoying that way. But at the end of the day, you know, they do help you, and to be fair, they give you a good amount of money each month. I know it's not like much. Like, I think I get just over 243 quid, or something like that, to last me the month. And to be fair, it's not really enough. But when you like add it up to say you get that every month, like, they're still giving you that, plus other people get that a month, and some people get more depending what they're claiming. Some people claim sick, and some people claim on disability, and, you know, so they do give out a lot. I know they're supposed to do it, but I do sort of, in some sense, like, I still like to thank them, really, because, you know, if I wasn't getting this a month, like, I would be in an even worse position than I suppose I am at the moment. But anyway, that's going to do it for the stream. So like, comment, share, and peace out.